Welcome to another episode of Market Sense, where we simplify key economic issues and concepts to help you better understand and make smart economic decisions. My name is Dr. Taufik Kolaoleraji, and I'm an economist. In today's episode of Market Sense, we're going to be discussing interest rates, what it means, and how it affects you and me. Ever heard of terms such as deposit rates, money policy rates, and lending rates? These are the three key interest rates that affect every individual and businesses in an economy. But before we go into all of that, let us start by understanding what interest rates really means. So what is interest rate? Now, when you think about interest rate, I want you to think about price. The price of money borrowed, or the reward for saving money. Let me give you a typical example. When you go to the bank to borrow money, let's say you borrow 100,000 naira. By the time you return that same amount of money, do you just return 100,000 naira? The answer is no. You put something extra on top. That extra is what is called interest rate. And that is how banks make money from lending and savers make money from saving and investing. And this is where it gets interesting. The central bank sets the tone for interest rates in any economy using what is called the money policy rate. The money policy rate is like an anchor rate that anchors the deposit rate and the lending rate together, so it balances the two. So anytime the central bank increases money policy rate, lending becomes expensive, people borrow less, and demand falls. Vice versa, when MPR rates are lowered, lending becomes cheaper and people borrow more and demand increases. So a typical example, anytime you see on TV where money policy rate, which is called MPR, is increased, let's say for example, 27.5% to 28%, what it literally means is that the banks are borrowing at a higher rate from the central bank. So how does this affect you and me? When people or businesses borrow, maybe to farm, for transport, or to produce goods, they do so at higher borrowing cost. And who pays for this cost? It is you, the consumer. So when food prices, transport fare, and even rent go up, interest rate most likely has gone up. Secondly, let's look at jobs. When the cost of borrowing is high, businesses cut back on expansion. What this translates to is fewer new shops, fewer new factories, and fewer new jobs being created. So indirectly, interest rates affect job availability, the growth of businesses, and most importantly, gross domestic product. On the flip side, we've talked about lending. Now let's look at the savings. When interest rates go up, savers enjoy a lot. This is because when MPR is high, most banks increase interest rates on deposits that they get. So savers get to earn more on their savings. So right now in Nigeria, MPR is at 27.5%. What it means is that anybody that is saving or investing his money will most likely earn more on his or her savings. But as they say, borrowers feel the pain, savers enjoy the gain. So what is the lesson here? Interest rate as a money policy tool is a silent boss of any economy. It controls the amount you pay on your loans, the prices of goods in the market, how much you earn on your savings, and even the jobs being created. So the next time you hear or see that the CBN is increasing or reducing interest rates, don't just tune off. It's not just banking talk. It's about your pocket, your hustle, and your future. Thank you for watching another episode of Market Sense. Don't forget to click the subscribe button and share with friends and family so that we can continue to educate ourselves. And most importantly, say no to drugs, educate the mind, don't abuse it. See you next week.